All right, so a couple of days ago, I asked them, is there anything that you can tell me that could help me somehow? Because, maybe in a way that might help both of us. I don't remember exactly how I put it, but it was something like that. And they said, don't get on your phone, don't get near your phone, keep your phone in Faraday. They told me, don't engage with the internet. They told me several things in rapid fire succession. But what I'm trying to say is that they see I can't even talk anymore after this started after the last few days, but few weeks. But anyways, the point of the story is that. But anyways, so I I took that advice into consideration, and it seemed like a good idea. Um, for one, it had already started to occur to me um, what was what the situation was. It's like you need my suffering to be witnessed. So therefore, if I don't even let the phone near me, then why would you even continue? And to a certain extent, actually, that did seem to work. I thought it was probably in my best interest not to even say it. But, just they would leave me alone when the phone was put away for days on end. It's just, but every time I get back near the phone, then they would start up again. So I think it's more the thing of it is just even if you tell them that, it's just nobody knows that, and what's witnessed is what's important because if they can't see it in your eyes, then all they're hearing is you tell them something either way. So, but the point of the story, so maybe I shouldn't be telling you, but in all honesty, that's the way it went. I think it's important to say that because, see, I think they are essentially, playing on that by saying, well, you could just put that phone away. You're starting to realize this. And so it, yeah, and I wrote this down. Is my thinking is, and this part, the part that I wrote last, I don't even know what I meant. Maybe you can make sense of it. But essentially, it's they could see me getting to the point of us essentially saying, okay, well, I'm not going to be witnessed anymore. So it's more, well, we'll take you down that road, and we'll see where that goes. You know what I mean? Because what it ends up becoming is, well, it got worse. And one of the things that they did was a few days ago they said you need to take your medication, and then yesterday I've been taking my medication, but not not like I'm supposed to, I, not consistently, especially lately. It's just stupid shit. I'll end up thinking I don't need it, and I'll always end up being wrong. So, but I'm back on my medication. But they assaulted me yesterday. It was so bad. I was laying in my bed and they hit me so many times continuously, and it was this I'm just messing with you, you know what I'm saying, type of like I just it's like somebody showing their teeth because they're like something's gone wrong in their head. It's kind of along the lines of jealousy, but it ain't even that. And you know what I mean? And it was that mentality that was just being put across with each assault. And I think what they were doing was triggering both my fight and flight responses at the same time. And this exists so much, and I pick up on this all the time. And some of it I think is really out there, like losers who they get brought to the next level. Uh, and then even the government probably can't keep up with what they're doing. Just to track me and watch me and like try to stop me. And oh god, it's crazy. But what I wrote down was what I wrote down was something. I had a couple of different theories. It was they either needed my help and not throwing fits, or needed my help and not interrupted psychologically, which that doesn't even make sense to me anymore. I don't even know why I was thinking. It made sense to me at the time, and I think there may be something to that. you know, um, but maybe the reason that they would have me, I don't know, something in that. Maybe it's a justification to humanity. Like something they had said to me a few days ago is my assistant. I need my assistant, but I think that's what I was thinking. I need my assistance, but I can't just force him. I don't know what I was. I think that's what I was thinking. I think it was coming together in my head, but but I didn't understand even what I was thinking at the time. But I think that's what I was thinking. I have no idea. But anyways, and then the whole thing was, well, look how that all played out. How can you not talk about that? You know what I mean? But what I'm starting to believe right now, regardless of what those theories were, and I don't even know where they came from, but what I'm starting to think right now is that they're going, well, uh, you know, it's you're going to end up like that. You're going to end up acting like that. And so what we're saying is, just that's what I was thinking, because they're basically saying, well, I need your help that much, but it's just going to suck the whole time. You know what I mean? I don't know if that even makes sense to you, but that's essentially what I think. It's like, hey Tanner, look, I'm appealing to you right now. I'm thinking like you. You know what I mean? This really sucks. That's the only way you can get out of it. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But you can't, because I'm gonna have to have your help, and I'm gonna have to have you fucked with while you're doing this. Okay. So anyways, but yeah, and then there was something else I was gonna tell you. Oh yeah. So the aliens, I just started to put it together that whenever not these aliens, but the other aliens, the ones that travel with the green flame coming out the back, I think that whenever they initially, whenever they initially just basically confronted me, for insinuating that somehow that humanity could somehow assist them. I was so fucked up and high at the time, it didn't even make any sense. But I was wondering a lot of different things about how I could get into their heads and make them tell me more, because there was so much weird stuff going on with aliens that I didn't understand what was going on. It wasn't them though; it was the other aliens. I don't even know if you want to call that an alien. I don't know what that is, but But anyways, so so the next night, they flew real close over me and lit up the whole highway. It was really crazy. And what I think is that it was because they probably they don't know what they're looking at. They know that they're probably kind of caught up in fascination, with me in particular, because they were able to determine a long time ago that that's Jesus Christ. And so they're thinking, what is that? You know what I mean? That thought never escapes their mind, because that's just something created that's so far beyond their comprehension that they just can't stop thinking about it. And so what I think is that they may have, in the process of contemplation, equated me somehow to themselves. And then for me to suggest something that they may have already been thinking, which is, hey, this guy, we should bring him up here and show him some of this stuff and to see what he says, because they're curious, and he might have some kind of feedback that may actually be of use to us. They're probably thinking about stuff like that, troubleshooting, like us, still in that stage. But they probably, at that point that I brought that up, it's a violent environment that they're looking at. Way more violent than just Earth in general, by comparison, I'm sure is tremendously much more violent. Probably my situation may have played into that a little bit, but at the same response, is what I've been outlining in my most recent paper. That when you see something rise above a violent environment, when you see someone, then that triggers something inside of people, because it's our primitive instinct to say, when two bears meet each other in the wild, they're both big, they fight each other. You know what I mean? That is still inside of us. You see what I'm saying? And what it indicates is that it's still inside of them. So I think that's worth mentioning. And as well, whenever they kept me from falling asleep on the highway, then because I was about to fall asleep, they were wrapped up in something that was going on with me at the time. I had been looking at a lot of stuff on the internet. I had posted a video, I think at that point recently, had a lot of details underneath it about what's going on with these FEMA camps. It was Ron Paul talking about FEMA camps. It went viral. The body of investigation was posted nearby to that. Just, oh man, so many videos. I spent so much time looking into this stuff. That's the reason. That's the reason to a large extent that So I'm here to fix the government. So I know a lot about that. Okay, but what I'm saying is that as far as that's concerned, well, they may have been looking into that and finding some type of an interest in it themselves. And in conjunction with a lot of the things that were happening in my life, what I think is that their minds work similarly to ours, and that when a mind gets focused on something, and this is important to know this honestly in life, when it comes to anything, okay, when your mind gets focused on something, the threats that you will perceive are going to be way far outweigh actually what they really are. Okay, and that's just the way it is in life, and that's just obsession in a nutshell. If you've got something really important, you're wrapped up in it, you may drop a pin on the table the wrong way, and it'd just be like, for me, it's been like that, because just not exactly that, but just the stupidest shit will be like, why did that have to happen right then? Because the forces that go into that, and, when the intensity of the thoughts that can be going through my head is just, especially with so many people's lives on the line, and just the troubleshooting that goes into that. And just, I've gotten to the point where I get migraines a lot, and there's so many different things to think about. But anyways, the point of the story, especially right now, but just especially what went on a lot when I was first coming up with some of the framework for the new government. But either way, the point of the story is that that happens, and it's just, for anybody, it's important to know that. You know what I mean? And I hope that I get that out there, because that's one of the things I really want to leave people with, in life, is just to know that when you start focusing on something, all that threat assessment is just gone. It really goes out the window, and you can make something of something that isn't even anything. And sometimes you just got to step outside of it and be like, that's, that's just, I'm just going to feel like shit right now. You know what I mean? And just give yourself permission in that moment to say, whatever kind of catastrophic breakdown that was inside of my head over that, I just have to find it inside myself, just to give myself permission. At least that's the way it is for me. Maybe you can think your way out of it, but just by acknowledging it. But for me, I can't even do that. I just have to say I'm just going to feel like shit right now, and that's the end of it. Because it just feels like something just derails the thought. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so much riding on that thought or something, but it just wasn't. So, but either ways, just to say that as far as that's concerned, that's still in their head. You know what I mean? Because they knew I was Jesus Christ. They knew, and I was probably fading in and out of sleep a little bit, but I don't think I was just going to fall asleep, I think I was just kind of, my eyelids were fluttering a little bit, and I think they made something out of that, so, but anyways, not to scare you, but, yeah, just, it's interesting, you know. It's interesting to know that maybe that's useful somehow, you know, for the military or something. You know, screw with their emotions somehow if it comes down to it.